Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the back of his Teardown Lab. It's a hot summer's day. I'm not going to dilly-dally, but I've got a motorbike which has a Meta M3357 alarm system. If you look in your bike, you remove the cowls, you might be able to find it. It looks like this, the key looks like this, and I've had a lot of trouble starting it. In fact, I just changed the battery on this bike because I thought it was a battery issue, but actually the battery was good. So the problem you'll have is, you can hear it actually beep there. It actually hasn't beeped a lot since. When you push the button, it's doing the flash. Try again. See, it's just not quite messing. Even though it's now beeping, it's just messing. It's not properly unlocking the bike. So before it gets any worse and I get stranded somewhere, which I definitely don't want to do, I want to try to take this out because they do have an internal battery, and I just want to see if I can get into it so we can try to change that. But just to show you, the first challenge is obviously getting it out, find it where it is. A lot of places just put it under the cowl or under the seat somewhere. It was just cable tied, so just cut those. And then your challenge here is that it's got a security screw in there that's designed to only go one way, so you're going to have to get that out. I'm going to work out a way of getting that out, and I'm going to show you how to do that, and then we're going to take this to the bench and work on it. So I've devised a way now of getting out these pesky screws. They're super easy. It was easier than I thought, actually. I'm going to flip it over and show you so you can see what I've done here. So there you can see no screw because I just cut the plastic. So it's really crazy easy. This is such a lame design. So it's got that security screw, and it actually turns out to be like a hardened steel type thing that's very hard to cut. But actually just make one cut down there, down that side, and then one cut down this side here. I'll just show you my finger. So cut along this line here in, then cut along down the side there, and you can just pull that chunk out. So I'm going to just pop out the next chunk now. I can't show you because I haven't got a tripod with me, but I'm just going to cut it kind of like that and then like that. You can do it on the bike. You just make sure you don't hit the wires here when you're doing it. So you can see that's the first cut in there. Just go down the side and bring it through right till it's level with that edge, maybe a bit more if you want. And that's the second cut right there. So just continue that through, and then once it's through, you'll notice that can just be pulled out. Can't quite do it again with one hand, but oops. But yeah, that will just push out when you're done. Just make sure you cut all the way through there, all the way through there, and that will plop out. And that's the finished article right there. So you should be able to pop these covers off. You can see there's a big old gasket in there, and I guess if you've ever fitted these, I don't know if they had to be fitted by dealers, you might never be aware of that, but keep these if you want to refit those later. Maybe you're going to have to glue them. And then underneath that there's going to be a connector, and there it is right there. I'll peel that back and we'll have a look at that closely. These are super easy to disconnect. Just push the locking latches down and pop it out, and there you go, ready to go to the bench. So we have it on the bench now, and what you can see when you look at it, focus, is that you've got these tabs here that go through, and they're basically crimping this together. It is made in two halves. I know it doesn't probably want to come apart, but I think it will. So what I'm going to do first anyway, and you know, we might find it's glued or something later on, is just cut these though first, because they're going to be a problem. Make sure you don't slip and slice yourself though. So run the knife down between the gap between the two. Again, you're pulling this towards yourself, so be careful, or I am. If you can do it away from yourself, even better. So that's those three cut. I'm going to try to go for these ones. Now, looking at the wiring diagram on the motorbike, it is actually quite easy to bypass this. I think it's actually only a couple of wires you need. So if you want to do away with the immobilizer altogether, you could probably bypass it. I'm not going to, because I still want it to work and I want it to still be legit. So I'm going to put this all back together and make it, you know, seal it all up. And you probably want to do the same if you've already got one. So once that's cut through, I'm going to start prizing it now. So that's where my sort of spludger comes in. I want to sort of try to work out how it's bonded, how it's glued. Certainly did prise apart a little bit there. I can see it trying, so I think it just needs a bit of effort. Let's put it in there. You can see it, it's just opening up. But that's actually starting to even bend my spludger there, so I might need a big hefty screwdriver. And I do have one. I do sort of sometimes sharpen the ends of these just for that purpose. I'm just going to put it through and twist it. Oh, there you go. Put it in, and a little twist is all it took. I can hear there is some sort of glue or sealant there, but it's just snapped away with that. Oh no, I did it in the wrong place. Don't do it there. No, that's fine. A little twist, a flick of the wrist. There we go. There we go. Bit of sealant in there. And I know it's probably hard to see because it's all kind of dark, but once we get this apart, I think you'll be able to fully appreciate the construction therein. Just working it around. I'm taking my time because I do want to be able to put this back together at the end of all this. But yeah, it's a big old plastic block, computerized, tested. Okay. Look at this. I pop this off and I'm greeted with a massive potted block of fun right there. That's going to be a problem. Yep. They've done me in good and proper. Now that looks to me like a battery in there, so that could be where the old battery's located. Potted in battery. Oh joy. Now, and I recall when I did last use the bike, I remember it was starting to play up. You know, the old immobilizer was playing up. So it could well be the beginning of this sort of effect. I'm going to put a bit of force on the connector, but not too much. You don't really know what's in there. Maybe if you're watching this, I might be about to sort of break something on my bike. But you won't make the same mistake. But look, it has to have an open element there because there is a speaker right there. I don't know if that speaker's put in from the top. It does have an interesting looking design on the plastics. Yeah, I think it's all right for now. Let's just work this out. Oops. Crikey O'Reilly. The key is to try to just get some sort of edge we can work with. Oh. What did I wedge it into? Probably some lithium cell now is trying to spew its guts all over the place. Oh! Oh dear! Right, I think it's time for brute force. No! Sorry! Sorry, Meta. We're going to have to learn your secrets now. So what I might end up doing, by the way, if we don't discover a way of working out how this immobilizer works, I'm going to try to kind of maybe be careful. I think we've damaged that connector though. That's probably no good. I'll work out a way though for you to hotwire it. So don't worry. At the end of this process, we're going to get this bike going. If we manage to hotwire it in a sensible way though, it does mean we could probably just plug another Meta alarm just straight in and use the new clip and everything that comes with the alarm into the harness. So at least it's sort of half a good story if we can actually buy these bloody things. Ah, yes. There we go. Wires. Some wires. They really did not want anybody to be able to service this. I'm not even sure this is a safety like a measure to protect the user, in terms of having their bike stolen. I don't think this is an alarm issue. I think this is just to keep moisture out the bloody thing because of the sort of environment it has to work in. Woohoo! But that does look like a battery in there. And it looks like, I bet when we get in there, it's just regular sort of AA cells. I'm just going to see how. Look at this potting. Dang. That is some work. So if you're prepared to just risk life and limb and hacking willy-nilly into this battery, I think you could get to the cells pretty quickly. It looks like they're actually encapsulated in a foam there. So leave this with me for a moment and we'll come back and see how far I get with it. Alright, sod this for a game of soldiers. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm done with that right now. So I'm just going to show you how to hotwire it. It just does not look like it's worth trying to mess with that. So we're just going to hotwire it. So all you need, get a bit of wire. This is from an old PSU from a PC. And I'm stripping the ends down. Just like that. And you can tin them if you want. You can make a good job of this. It's up to you. So it's only to, it's really just to get you going until you get your next alarm, or if you want to do permanent, you could just modify the loom back on the bike and actually just repair the damage that the Meta alarm would have done being fit. What we're going to do is just do that, and I'm going to go and hook these on the connectors where they're going to go from the pin out, and we're just going to get this bike running again. See you in a sec. So you can see now I've just jammed some wires in, and I'll show you those. You've got this white connector here. One of them is I think the engine immobilizer, and one's the starter immobilizer. So if you look at the block, you can see I've used pins, if you count this one as pin 1, and that might not be the actual nomenclature on the pins if they've written on them, but I've gone 1 second in from the left, third, and then fourth, second and fourth, and then the white block I've just joined the two together and wedge them in. I mean, we can replace these wires with bits of metal or paper clips, something like that, and then just take that up when we're done. But just to show you just the proof of that, turn the key, everything comes on as it did, but now when you hit the start, okay, you could hear it running. I don't have the choke off, and I've got a closed garage door, so I'm not going to run it, but that was clearly it starting and running. So I think we're pretty much done there. So I'm just going to tidy that up probably and tape that for now before I maybe get another Meta 357 and put that in. So hopefully that's been of some use to you. This is a Honda, by the way, Honda CBF. So I don't know, I think if you look at these, sometimes the wiring will change slightly, and you can experiment, but be bloody careful. You might blow a fuse if you're not right, or blow your wiring, so be super careful. But some diagrams show them with these two, like pins, if we're counting from this top left as 1, by the way, 1 and 2 connected, or 3 and 4 connected, and then some of them have pins maybe 3 and 5, there's sort of variations of that, so be careful. Have a look on the internet, you'll find some. And some companies, I think they're quite expensive for what they are, £30, will sell you a bypass plug, which is effectively the other end of this, which has already got these connections soldered in. But what you could do if you want to, that Meta alarm that we just have on the bench, if you chip out the actual connectors that are in it, you could solder the wires on the back and then just plug those clips back into this. I mean, this would be quite a common one to find, I think, on a sort of model aeroplane or something. Let's do this thing. Hacksaw connector. You can see I'm just cutting it on the bench here. Dangerous. Oh yeah. So I've liberated the plug. I know I want to solder this pin here, that one, which is the second from the right, to the fourth from the right, and these two together. So that shouldn't be too tricky, because if you look on the back, you can actually see they're the contacts there. And I mean, if you really wanted to try hard, you could probably do quite a good job of this, or you could probably go in a catalogue and find the actual connector itself. I mean, I don't know what it is, I'm not going to bother finding out. This is going to be good enough. So there's that pin, that's the second pin there, nicely tinned off, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, it's that one we want. And I've obviously bashed this a bit, but I think it's still going to go in fine. You probably don't need to bash it as much as I did, because now you know what to expect. But that's quite a thick old pin there, so it's a good soldering point. And if you want to just give it a little scrape. And then we've got this connector, and this connector, the white one, connects to the PCB and terminates there, so I could just bridge those two. So it's not a big problem. So we have a soldering iron here. So let's see if I can get away with bridging these just as is, just by putting a massive blob of solder between the two. Might have to be bigger than the solder wants to be honest. Look at that, that's pretty big. And the blobs are really not coalescing. Almost. There we go. Just going to hold that there for a moment though, because I just want it to settle. It's such a big blob, we're at risk of it trying to run away. Now what I'm going to use to bridge these two, and if I can find my handy tweezers, there we go, 'cause these are a little bit hard to hold. I've got some old legs here from resistors and things that I was working on. You can see them right there. You could use thick gauge wire, but I'm just going to use these because they're going to be good enough. So I've got options here. I can either just solder them and cut them, or I'm going to try real quick. It's going to be tricky with these tweezers because they're a bit delicate. Is to fold them over so they're just looped around some of the pins. Those 2 pins we got. So there's some mechanical join on them. So that's basically, look into my hands. There's one there. And you can see I'm just going to fold that underneath the other pair and then up and over again, right? So it's basically a loop of solder, of wire. It's not soldered yet. But the reason I've looped that over is because you'll see now when I start applying solder, it'll act as a bridge, and then that whole area is going to kind of turn into a big soldery mass, and that's going to have good current handling capability. I'm pretty sure we don't need that much current for this. Better belt and braces, right? This is something that's going to be like pretty much a permanent fix here. So do a good job of it there, and you'll never have to worry about it ever again. So that's that. So we've got that bridged on the white, and those are our pins that we know on our Honda users. So I'm going to go pop that in and see if it starts. And if it does, job done. Roll the black insulating tape, and I think we'll just lash it round, put the seat back on. So you can see it's all nicely fitted. I just pushed it in, connected the white cable, plopped that all in, and I'm going to pull that little bit back as well, just because remember there are live contacts here from the rest of the vehicle system, so you don't want to short that edge of PCB out. That's why it's, you know, when we're finished with this, we're going to wrap it up nicely, and in fact we can probably just clip these existing pieces on and stuff just to make sure that's secure. Let's go test it out though before we do anything else. Job's a good one. So there you go, your own alarm deletion clip. I hope that video has been of some use to you. If it has, please feel free to tweet me or come on my Discord channel and give me a thumbs up and have a chat with me. Thanks for watching.